As the buildings collapsed, they literally pulverized the materials inside the building. The concrete floors of the building were essentially turned to dust, as were the sheetrock walls. And that's why you saw this light gray colored dust forming as the buildings collapsed.
A building like that, it's like a giant accordion. It's full of air. When the top of that building comes down, all that air has to come out. And where it comes out the windows. It blows out the windows.
It was just an enormous amount of energy that was being formed by the collapse of the building. And that energy compressed the air and caused the dust to be blown out the side of the building.
The initial ejection is totally horizontal. It comes out at high speed at a horizontal rate of up to 200 feet per second. Now, the only reason it has a vertical component is because gravity takes hold of the material in that squib and slowly accelerates that. So at first the vertical velocity is very small because the gravitational acceleration has not yet taken hold of it, so it mostly comes out vertically. Eventually, as it travels in the horizontal direction, and how far it travels depends upon the resistance of the air to the material that's there. And some of the material travels a long way. Well, then the gravitational acceleration slowly builds up a greater vertical velocity and eventually hits the ground at a very high rate of speed, almost as high as it started out with, and does major damage to whatever it hits on the ground. In the photograph of the squib, we estimated the initial velocity. The squib comes out almost horizontally, but from the distance it has traveled out versus the width of the North Tower, which is about 205 feet, as I recall. And that squib is approximately equal to 1/3 of that distance. And it has developed at about 1/2 of a second. So we would estimate that the squib material at the advance is traveling out more than 140 feet per second.
hidden by all the spectacular ejections, one small focused jet has special significance. This little puff is not coming out a window at all, but out of the corner of the building. Each corner of the building has two 14-inch box columns, connected to each other by large, periodically spaced steel plates and covered on the exterior with aluminum cladding. There are no corner windows. The corner columns are structurally significant because they connect the adjacent wall assemblies and give the building three-dimensional stability. If anyone wanted to demolish the towers, the corner columns would be natural targets. Let's come back to our little jet. Notice that as the surrounding structure descends, this little jet, as it plays itself out, remains fixed relative to the original structure of the building. It does not move down with the falling walls and floors. This suggests that we could be seeing the work of a cutter charge strapped to a column. Another focused jet cutting through the corner of the building. In fact, if we watch a small interval centered on the critical moment, we can see several ejections clustered on the corner that explode within a fraction of a second of each other. The hypothesis that we are merely looking at ejections of dust and smoke that result from the collapse is no longer viable. Once we recognize that explosives were used, we can see the entire event through new eyes.